we have one other tradition to take care of, and that is this year's Toast to Freedom, which will be given by Błażej Lenkowski, the founder and president of the board of Poland's Liberté Foundation, a think tank established in 2007 to foster discussion of liberal ideas via its events and its online magazine. At that event in 2022 I referenced, it was Liberté Foundation which won our Europe Liberty Award for their amazing Freedom Games, an annual international forum that I was privileged to participate in last October, bringing together policymakers, intellectuals, journalists, and activists to discuss pressing global and regional challenges. And under Błażej's leadership, Freedom Games has grown significantly so that it now attracts thousands of in-person participants and reaches vastly larger audiences through the broadcast sessions. Lenkowski is a graduate of the University of Łódź. He's an important voice, an important doer for the Free Society. Please join me in extending a warm welcome to Błażej Lenkowski.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, this is my great pleasure to be here with you during this great event, during Atlas Europe Liberty Forum. I'm really proud to be here with you. But I think that my speech will be rather serious than very optimistic. We are meeting in special time, when the time of reason, peaceful global cooperation is in the real threat. One of my mentors and the fathers of Polish democracy, former Polish Minister of Foreign Affairs, Bronisław Geremek, has said in 1998, just before he signs in independence in Missouri, the access of Poland to NATO, very important quotation. With a sense of responsibility for history, we reject totalitarian ideology and practices. We reject fascism and communism that disgrace the century that is ending. The rejecting of national chauvinism, as well as any national egoism of nations and social classes, the rejections of ethnocentrism are the part of our program of integration. There are no room for hatred in the tradition around which we are uniting. How far are we today from these words in global politics? I come from Poland. I was born 42 years ago, just after the end of Solidarity Festival, ended by brutal martial law when tanks on the street turned against citizens in Poland. I have been a child, but I still remember many pictures, many memories from this time, from the end of 80s and beginning of 90s. The gray, poor country, empty shops, long queues. Poland, in fact, went bankrupt due to essentially autarkic communist system, phased off from global system of trade with no individual freedoms, no suitable property rights, rule of law, or economic freedoms. But the collapse of the Soviet bloc gave Poland the chance for the change. And during the last 35 years, Polish GDP has more than tripled. During this period, GDP per capita rose from 41% of the average GDP in the EU to 81% now. The value of Polish export increased almost 30 times during this time. Unemployment, which was the tragedy and rampant at the beginning of 90s, now it is 2.6% in February of this year, according to Eurostat. I'm not trying in any way to say that Polish system is the best one. This is overregulated, We have a lot of problems with our political scene. For example, we have to stop one populist president to become the head of our country in a week. But at the same time, none of different governments during these 35 years managed to destroy key principles of Polish democracy and economy was based after the collapse of the communism. The story of Poland is showing the power of our values to make the lives of people better and the countries richer. This unique progress in the history of Poland has been possible thanks to liberal democracy and the system ensuring economic freedoms, absolutely not ideal, but still free market, rule of law. We have some violations of it, but I think that the system managed to work. Still not perfect, but individual freedoms, and what is very, very important, growing participation in the trade system, especially after Polish joining the EU. Ideas of freedom and global peaceful economic cooperation are working great for countries like Poland. And our example is not something special. But now, the world and the perception of many leaders is changing. We are in the turning point in the terms of global order based on cooperation and free trade. Donald Trump's and others' right-wing and left-wing populist narrations like tariffs, closing markets, deglobalization, withdrawal from international cooperation are absolutely and exactly opposite to main factors to lead the economic success of such countries like Poland and many, many others. If their policies will be implemented successfully, the harm will come also to the United States, as it is step by step also noticeable in Great Britain after Brexit. The global international order, built mainly by the United States, was beneficial also to America, the global economic superpower. And believe me, the alternative is worse. It doesn't mean that nothing should be changed. The fact is that globalization strengthens not only democratic countries, but also authoritarian states like China or Russia, becoming more and more self-confident and aggressive. Russia was able to start the global bloody war against Ukraine, against their dream to become a democratic European country. This is the global challenge for the United States, European Union, and the whole community of democracies. We have to stop Russia and ensure the future of Ukraine in the family of free countries. Some rules of globalization and security policies should be changed. The need to strengthen defense, invest in defense industry, and ensure supply chains from friendly countries for this purpose is absolutely indispensable. But the whole idea of closing the states, but huge tariffs, like, for example, today's news about 50% of tariffs proposed by Donald Trump to the European Union, cutting international trade and cutting this cooperation will harm us all and really will lead to tectonic conflicts. Economic and political cooperation of democratic community is in the interest of all members, including the United States, in the context of Chinese military, technological, and economic challenge. We are in the global turning point and a huge battle of hearts and minds of citizens. The future in our countries cannot belong to two types of enemies of freedom, personified today from one side by J.D. Vance, and from the second side by Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez. To address the global challenges, to make life of our citizens better, we need different, effective leaders who respect the fundamental principles of freedom. Ronald Reagan has said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction." We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodshed. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on them to do the same. And dear ladies, dear gentlemen, this is our huge challenge. We are freedom fighters. I deeply believe that we will never give up. And I would like to make the toast to freedom with you.
Thank you, sir. Wonderfully done. Yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Let's have a round of applause for Błażej.